Before the tier list starts, I want to clarify what exactly I'll be basing the ranks off of. First of all, I'll be basing the ranking off of the true form of the units and their usefulness throughout the whole game. I'll be excluding Super Feline as I am not good enough at the game in order to use it and give a good opinion on it. And that's really it. Without further ado, let's get on with the normal cats. Mohawk Cat is the first cat you unlock in the game, and its purpose later on as the game progresses is that of a meat shield. Its stats at level 110 are 8.9k health, 712 damage, 10 movement speed, 3 knockback hits, and 2 seconds of a recharge cooldown. These stats make it a great utility to most loadouts and a punching bag for the enemies that give the mid and long range units the ability to hit enemies without being hit themselves. This is great and all, but it's not really that useful because it's just going to end up dying in one hit from pretty much anything, and it's outclassed by a lot of other meat shields that you'll unlock throughout the game, and I think that gives it a B rank. Racer Cat just might be the best cat in the game. It is the go-to meat shield for almost any situation, especially when you pair it up with its manic version. At level 110, Racer Cat's stats are really kinda trash except for his health, which is 26.7 thousand. That much health is absurd for a cost of 150 and gives it a reason to stick throughout all of your loadouts throughout the entire game. The only real downside to a Racer Cat is its speed, which is kinda slow, but that's made up for with its crazed variant. In the clip I'm showing above, D'Artagnan is a long-range unit, and without the Racer Cat there, it wouldn't be able to kill the Bonbon. Apart from that, this cat just has broken health and is probably one of the best meat shields, if not the best meat shield. All these reasons give it an S tier. Dark Cat is a single target unit with an ability that makes it strong against red enemies. Its stats at level 110 are 17.8k health, 2.2 thousand damage, 300 cost, and 2 second recharge. These all sound pretty good, but someone else has better stats for the early game, that being Ninja Cat. Ninja Cat does almost the same thing as Dark Cat, but has better speed and overall just better stats. When you get your Dark Cat to level 110, you'll already have better units that already outclass it, even though your Dark Cat will be better than Ninja. If you have red enemies to deal with later on in the game, it'll be better to use units like Courier or Rocat or Can or just pretty much anything except for this unit. This unit is not usable as a meat shield, it isn't usable as an attacker. It just shouldn't be used unless it's in a cat combo. These unfortunate circumstances give it a F tier. Macho Legs Cat is a mid-range stackable attacker, being strong against aliens. Its stats are going to be shown on screen right now, pretty average in my opinion. The only notable thing here is really the range and the cooldown, which makes it stackable. The only real major weakness that Macho Legs has is its single target ability, as it doesn't allow it to hit bosses when there's peons in the way, and it just overall hinders the ability to crowd control and all that stuff. It's also easily outclassed by its Manic counterpart, Manic Macho Legs, because Manic Macho Legs has a wave, which gives it the ability to clear peons a lot easier. Other than that, there's not really much more interesting about this unit to say. It's a B tier. Lion Cat is a single target rusher unit. The stats are shown above, but the only notable thing about Lion Cat is its speed. For a rushing unit, Lion Cat's 30 speed is only good for the early game, with the late game having other speed rusher units that outclass Lion. Even for a rusher, it's still pretty slow, and its only real use I found was grinding treasures or doing easy repetitive stages, cause this cat cannot kill enemies by itself. That's why I think Lion Cat goes into the C tier. The Flying Cat is a quote-unquote ranged attacker, with the ability to weaken angel enemies by 50% for 4 seconds. The stats of the Flying Cat make it sound like a good area attacker, but this is not true at all. This is because it pretty much dies to every angel enemy it sees, and it's pretty outclassed by Cyborg Cat, and that makes it really useless unless you use it for cat combos. That puts the Flying Cat into D tier. Island Cat is a tanker with a strong against red ability, which makes it very suitable to deal damage without taking a lot of damage. The only downside to the stats that I can really find is that its 1200 price is a lot. Even with this price tag, it's still worth it to buy Island Cat because it can deal a lot of damage without dying easily. This niche is slightly outclassed by other units like Roe and Manic Island, but it is still relevant in the tanker category. The main use I found for Island Cat was Hanya, Red Orb stages, and the Crazed Axe stages, and early game too. This makes Island worthy of A tier. King Dragon is a long-range single attacker that has these stats. These stats help King Dragon stay alive and deliver lots of ranged damage to the enemies. There aren't a lot of units that can outclass King Dragon except for the Manic variant. However, King Dragon suffers from the problem of not having a specific targeting. King Dragon fills its role as a generalist throughout early game to mid game and sometimes even in late game, but by that time you will have other attackers doing most of the damage for the specific types of units like Aku, Relic, and really any other trait or traitless enemy. All these factors cause King Dragon to fall out of his place later on into the game, but is still good enough throughout the whole game to get an A tier. Jameira Cat is a tanker with the ability to knock back any traded non-metal enemies. It has an absurd amount of health, coming in at 89k, and its damage is also really high up there. Jameira Cat is very useful early and mid-game, but soon as the late game hits, it stops being that useful and loses its purpose. By this time frame, you'll already have tankers like Green Shell, and you'll already have damagers from the long range. Jameira's knockback might also cause Misley Syndrome, where enemies get knocked back from the front to the back, and the backliner enemies can have the chance to come out and destroy all your units. Jameira is a good tanker, but what he lacks is usability and speed. Overall, Jameira gets a C rank.